Hello, this is Dr. Jeff Kim, and I've been invited to the Korean National Association. It's a historic building in Los Angeles, and today is going to be an epic day to have conversations around how that place can be used to amplify the story of Korean Americans. Early in the 1900s, that location was used to really fight for the independence of colonized Korea. It's hard to believe that between 1910 to 1945, Korea was a colonized country fighting for its independence. And its story is in Korea, but also is outside of Korea. Korean Americans who were advocating for a free Korea. I mean, I can't even imagine today Korea not existing. Now, I do remember visiting the Korea National Museum a couple of years ago on a bus tour. And it was a really great experience because when you go into the museum, first of all, it's historic. It was a place that Korean Americans used to gather to seek out and fight for a free Korea. So when you go inside the Korea National Museum today, what you're going to see is like artifacts, timelines, realia that help share the story of Korean Americans in the United States. Once again, growing up, I couldn't name one Korean American that made a difference for the United States, or an Asian American for that matter. And it's important to have these kind of spaces. But I'm so glad that I'm being invited, having a chance to speak with other scholars that will be there about ideas on the Korea National Museum and how that place can be used to support Korean American history. Also, I'll have the chance to share a little bit about our Korean American Studies course. So they've invited me as the first Korean American Studies teacher in the United States to share a little bit about kind of some of my thoughts and ideas of what that place could be and how there could be greater engagement. And I'm glad that they did, because there's some lessons learned that are coming out of the Korean American Studies course for students to know their story, tell their story, listen to one another's stories with empathy and respect, and do something good with their stories. So I could see perhaps students having an opportunity to have a field trip to this location. Perhaps they could be a part of the museum making. As you know, in my Korean American Studies course, as we knew our stories and told our stories, we wanted to do something good, and that included creating a virtual museum. So what could it look like to include maybe some of those strategies, short form video perhaps, of students telling their stories, their parents' stories, perhaps stories connected to the museum itself at the KNA. In addition to that, in addition to knowing and telling their stories, perhaps that could also be a space where the students themselves, as resilience ambassadors, can grow that resilience through events. As you know, we've had dedication nights where students presented their ethnographies to their parents, but there could be other kinds of resilience events where perhaps poetry is shared about the migration experience, dedication nights, so many other kinds of potential resilience events that we could hold and host. So in Anaheim Union High School District, there's a real focus on student voice and purpose. And so as they're doing student work, creating work product, and actually in some ways creating history makers, they move from being history scholars to history makers. And I would love for that work to be showcased, giving them an authentic space to showcase their work and to tell the story. Stories that help other Korean Americans know their own stories of resilience. But once again, the Korean American story is a great American story, so it's a story of resilience for all people.